Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today, we're counting down the top 35 strategy games on Nintendo Switch that you need to play right now. These aren't just good games. These are the absolute best tactical experiences the system has to offer. Let's dive right in. Dawnfolk is a cozy village-building strategy game that combines resource management with tactical, hex-based combat. And honestly, it's way more engaging than it sounds. You're rebuilding a settlement in a lush fantasy world where every decision matters, from placing buildings strategically to maximize resource output to managing your villagers' needs and happiness. The combat system kicks in when threats appear, and you'll need to position your units carefully on hex grids to defend your village. What really hooks you is how everything connects. Your economic choices directly impact your military strength, so you can't just focus on one aspect. The art style is gorgeous, with a hand-painted look that makes every season change feel special. It's challenging without being overwhelming, and there's something deeply satisfying about watching your little village grow from a few tents into a thriving community while fending off dangers. Perfect for players who want strategy with heart. Monster Train 2 takes the deck-building roguelike formula and cranks it up to 11 with a vertically layered battlefield that creates insane strategic depth. You're defending a train traveling through hell, and you'll place monsters and spells across 3 different floors while enemy forces climb up trying to destroy your train's core. Each run starts with choosing a primary and secondary clan, giving you access to different monster types and spells that can synergize in wild ways. The genius here is in the floor management. Deciding whether to stack your defenses on one level or spread them out creates tension in every battle. Between fights, you'll upgrade cards, recruit new monsters, and make tough choices about which path to take through hell. The new mechanics add stuff like champion units and improved clan combinations that make each run feel totally unique. Boss fights are brutal puzzles where you need to adapt your entire strategy on the fly. The pacing is perfect for Switch, with runs lasting around an hour, and the just one more run factor is real. Captain Velvet Meteor is this surprisingly deep tactical RPG wrapped in a heartwarming story about a kid using imagination to cope with real-world struggles. You play through manga-inspired battles where you position characters on grid-based maps, using cover and special abilities to take down enemies. The combat system is approachable but has real depth. You'll need to think about positioning, ability cooldowns, and how your squad synergizes together. What sets it apart is how the story handles themes like family, identity, and anxiety through the lens of a young protagonist escaping into jump manga worlds. You'll recruit characters inspired by different manga series, each with unique abilities and playstyles that keep battles fresh. The difficulty curve is well designed, introducing new mechanics gradually while still providing challenge for tactical veterans. Maps have environmental hazards and objectives beyond just defeating enemies, forcing you to adapt your strategies. Wargroove 2 refines everything that made the first game great and adds a ton of content that makes it feel like the definitive version. You're commanding armies in turn-based battles across grid-based maps, with each commander having unique abilities called grooves that charge up as you fight. The campaign spans multiple factions with different storylines that interweave, giving you varied perspectives on the conflict and introducing interesting characters along the way. Combat feels perfectly balanced. Units have clear strengths and weaknesses, terrain matters a ton, and every decision about positioning and resource management counts. The new additions like unit veterancy and more complex map objectives add layers without overwhelming the core gameplay. Where this game really shines is the community features. The map editor and sharing tools let players create and share custom campaigns, giving you potentially endless content. Invisible Ink is a brutally smart stealth tactics game where every move could be your last, and that tension never lets up. You're controlling a team of agents infiltrating corporate facilities in a cyberpunk future, using stealth and hacking to complete objectives without getting caught. The turn-based system means you can take your time planning, but there's a constant alarm level that increases each turn, adding guards and security measures that force you to keep moving. Each agent has unique abilities and playstyles. Some are combat-focused, others excel at hacking or sneaking, so building your team composition matters. The procedurally generated facilities ensure every run feels different, with randomized guard patrols, camera placements, and loot locations keeping you on your toes. When things go wrong, and they will, you need to improvise fast, using limited resources and clever positioning. Worms W.M.D. brings back the chaotic, turn-based artillery battles that defined the series, and refines them with quality-of-life improvements and new mechanics that add depth. You're controlling a team of worms across destructible 2D landscapes, taking turns firing ridiculous weapons at enemy teams, while dealing with wind physics and terrain that changes as you blow it apart. The weapon variety is insane, from classic bazookas and grenades to absurd stuff like concrete donkeys and explosive sheep that create hilarious moments. New additions like vehicles and turrets that your worms can enter and operate add strategic layers to the mayhem. The crafting system lets you combine weapons to create custom tools of destruction, giving you more options for creative kills. Buildings that provide cover and can be entered change how you approach each map, making positioning matter more than ever. Fire Emblem Engage delivers the series' trademark tactical gameplay with one of the most refined combat systems in franchise history. You're commanding an army across grid-based battlefields where positioning, unit types, and the weapon triangle create layers of strategic decision-making. The Engage mechanic lets units summon and fuse with heroes from past Fire Emblem games, granting powerful abilities and stat boosts for a limited time, adding a resource management element to battles. The class system is deep, with multiple promotion paths and skill inheritance that let you customize units to fit your playstyle. Maps are thoughtfully designed with varied objectives beyond just defeat all enemies, incorporating defense missions, escape scenarios, and timed challenges that keep encounters fresh. The story follows a divine dragon awakening to stop a returning evil, and while the plot hits familiar beats, the character interactions and support conversations add personality and depth. Final Fantasy Tactics remains one of the most sophisticated tactical RPGs ever made, and this collection brings both the original and its sequel to modern audiences with improvements. The job system is the heart of the experience. Units can learn abilities from different classes and combine them to create wildly varied builds that suit your strategic preferences. Battles take place on isometric 3D maps, where height, terrain, and positioning dramatically affect combat outcomes, making every tile placement crucial. The story is a dark political drama about war, betrayal, and manipulation, set in the kingdom of Ivalice, with mature themes that still resonate today. Combat has incredible depth, with ability timing, charge times, and elemental weaknesses, creating tactical puzzles in every encounter. You'll spend hours tweaking your team composition and ability setups between battles, experimenting with different job combinations to find optimal strategies.
So here it ends.
Banner of the Maid is a criminally underrated tactical RPG set during the French Revolution with anime aesthetics and surprisingly deep gameplay systems. You follow Pauline Bonaparte and her companions through historically inspired battles that blend real events with fantasy elements involving magical maidens who influence the war's outcome. The combat plays on hex grids, where unit positioning, terrain bonuses, and morale systems create engaging tactical puzzles every mission. Each character has unique abilities and upgrade paths, and the gear system lets you customize their effectiveness in various combat roles. The morale mechanic is brilliant. Units fight better when near allies and commanders, but can break and flee if overwhelmed, adding a psychological element to battles. Between missions, you'll navigate a visual novel-style story with meaningful choices that affect which characters join you and how events unfold. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope takes the brilliant foundation of Kingdom Battle and evolves it into one of the Switch's best strategy experiences, period. The combat system ditches the grid for free movement within a radius, giving battles a more dynamic flow, where positioning and using cover feels natural rather than restrictive. Each character has unique abilities and weapons that create diverse playstyles, from Mario's close-range blasts to Rabid Peach's healing and damage combo potential. The Sparks are adorable Rabid Luma hybrids that grant special abilities like elemental attacks or status effects, and equipping them to different characters lets you customize strategies for specific challenges. Planets serve as hub worlds with exploration, puzzles, and side quests that break up the combat missions, giving the game more variety than pure tactical games. The story is charming and surprisingly heartfelt, with legitimately funny writing and characters you grow attached to across the adventure.
Let's go!
Ash of Gods: The Way is a roguelike tactical RPG that throws you into brutal, card-based battles where every decision carries serious weight. You're leading a group of travelers through a dark fantasy world filled with moral dilemmas and tough choices that actually matter to how your story unfolds. The combat system uses cards to determine your actions in turn-based battles on a grid, where positioning and resource management are absolutely critical to survival. What really gets you is the permadeath system. Characters can die permanently, and the story continues without them, forcing you to adapt and deal with the consequences. Between battles, you're making narrative choices that branch the story in meaningful ways, affecting which characters join you and what challenges you'll face. The art style is gorgeous, with a painted, storybook aesthetic that makes every scene feel like a work of art. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle was the surprise hit nobody saw coming, mixing Mario's universe with Rabbids chaos and XCOM-style tactical combat that absolutely works. You're controlling a team of 3 characters across grid-based battlefields, where cover, flanking, and ability combos determine whether you win or get steamrolled. The movement system lets you slide into enemies, bounce off teammates for extra distance, and chain actions together in satisfying ways that make positioning feel dynamic and fun. Each character has unique weapons and skill trees that encourage experimentation with different team compositions and playstyles throughout the campaign. The story involves a weird invention that fuses Rabbids with Mario characters, creating hilarious designs and scenarios that are genuinely entertaining despite the absurd premise. Battles ramp up in complexity, with environmental hazards, special enemies, and objectives beyond just eliminating all threats. Valkyria Chronicles 4 brings back the series' unique blend of real-time movement and turn-based strategy in a World War-inspired setting with anime aesthetics and fantasy elements. You're commanding Squad E through a military campaign where you select units on a tactical map, then directly control them in third person to move, shoot, and complete objectives. The Blitz system is brilliant. You have action points to spend on unit activations, and when controlling a unit, you move them in real time while enemies can fire at you, creating tension in every movement decision. Classes range from scouts and shock troopers to engineers and snipers, each with specific roles that require tactical thinking about positioning and support. The story follows a group of soldiers during a desperate invasion, dealing with themes of war, friendship, and sacrifice without glorifying combat. Tank battles add another layer where you need to target weak points and use terrain to your advantage against armored threats. Pikmin 4 is a real-time strategy game wrapped in Nintendo charm, where you're commanding adorable plant creatures to solve puzzles and battle enemies. You crash land on a mysterious planet and must rescue castaways while managing your Pikmin army to collect treasures and overcome obstacles. The gameplay loop involves throwing different colored Pikmin at tasks. Reds resist fire, blues work underwater, yellows conduct electricity, and new types add fresh mechanics to master. Time management is crucial because you're working against a day-night cycle, and you need to gather your Pikmin before nightfall or they'll get eaten by predators. Combat happens in real time, where you're directing Pikmin swarms against creatures much larger than them, requiring quick thinking about which types to use and when to retreat. Ochi, your dog companion, adds a new dimension by carrying Pikmin, breaking obstacles, and even fighting alongside you, making him essential to your strategies. Divinity Original Sin 2 is a massive CRPG with some of the deepest tactical combat you'll find anywhere, and the Switch port manages to bring that complexity to handheld without major compromises. You're creating a character in a fantasy world where magic is forbidden, and your choices throughout a sprawling campaign genuinely shape how the story unfolds and how NPCs react to you. The turn-based combat system is phenomenal, with environmental interactions, elemental combos, and tactical positioning creating endless possibilities for creative problem-solving in battles. You can teleport enemies into hazards, rain oil, then ignite it, bless or curse surfaces, and combine spells with party members for devastating effects. Character building is incredibly flexible, with classes serving as starting points, but you can mix and match skills from different schools to create unique builds that match your playstyle. The story offers multiple origin characters with their own quests and perspectives. Plus, you can create a custom character, ensuring every playthrough feels different. Transistor is a sci-fi action strategy hybrid from the creators of Bastion that combines real-time combat with a unique turn-based planning mode. You play as Red, a singer who gains a powerful weapon called the Transistor after a mysterious attack, and you're uncovering what happened to the city of Cloudbank while fighting corrupted enemies called the Process. The combat system lets you pause time to plan a sequence of moves and attacks, then watch them execute in real time before your turn gauge refills. Functions are abilities you slot into the Transistor, and they can be used as active attacks, passive upgrades, or limiters that increase difficulty for better rewards, creating insane depth in build customization. Experimenting with function combinations reveals new information and unlocks upgrades, encouraging you to constantly try different loadouts instead of sticking with one setup.
Here he comes.
The Banner Saga 3 concludes the trilogy with the same gorgeous hand-drawn art and brutal tactical combat, while bringing the story to an emotionally powerful ending. You're leading a caravan of refugees through a dying world where the sun has stopped moving, making choices about resources, morale, and who lives or dies that carry over from previous games if you import saves. The turn-based combat happens on a grid, where positioning and using each character's unique abilities strategically determines success or devastating failure. The strength and armor system creates interesting tactical decisions. You can target enemy armor to reduce their damage, or go for health to remove them from battle, both valid strategies depending on the situation. Characters can permanently die in battle or through story choices, and losses feel meaningful because you've spent hours with these people, watching them develop. Shogun Showdown is a roguelike tactical game with a genius hook. Combat plays out on a single row, where positioning and turn order create deep, strategic gameplay. You're a samurai fighting through randomly generated encounters, and the twist is that you and enemies occupy tiles on a line, with everyone's attack order visible so you can plan accordingly. Every move matters because you need to dodge enemy attacks by shifting positions while setting up your own strikes, creating a puzzle-like element to each fight. You collect ability tiles that slot into your limited action queue, and arranging them optimally based on enemy positions and upcoming attacks is where the strategy shines. Different characters offer varied playstyles and starting abilities, and unlocking new ones encourages experimentation with different tactical approaches and synergies. The items and upgrades you find during runs dramatically change your capabilities, letting you build toward combo-focused strategies or defensive tank builds depending on what you find. SteamWorld Heist II perfects the side-scrolling, turn-based tactical shooter formula with incredible depth, personality, and satisfying gameplay that keeps you hooked from start to finish. You're commanding a crew of steam-powered robot pirates in turn-based battles where you manually aim every shot, making skill and precision as important as tactical positioning. The 2D perspective creates unique tactical situations where ricocheting bullets off walls and ceilings to hit enemies behind cover is not just possible, but essential to mastering the game. Each crew member has distinct weapons and abilities that define their role. Snipers for precision shots, shotgunners for close combat, support characters with buffs and healing. The class system and equipment customization let you build characters to fit your playstyle, with tons of hats that provide stat bonuses and look awesome on your robots. The story takes you through various underwater regions with a pirate adventure vibe, featuring charming characters, humor, and a plot about uncovering mysteries and fighting tyrannical forces. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp brings back the classic Game Boy Advance tactical games with a gorgeous visual overhaul and refined gameplay that holds up incredibly well. You're commanding armies across grid-based maps where unit positioning, terrain advantages, and resource management decide victories in turn-based warfare. The core loop involves building units from captured bases, each with strengths and weaknesses against other unit types, creating rock, paper, scissors dynamics that rewards smart composition choices. COS are commanders with unique abilities and playstyles that charge up during battles, letting you unleash powerful effects like increased attack power or movement boosts at crucial moments. The campaigns take you through dozens of missions with varied objectives, from routing enemies to capturing headquarters under strict turn limits, keeping the gameplay fresh throughout. What really hooks you is how every decision matters. Overextending a tank, mismanaging funds, or poor positioning can snowball into defeats even when victory seemed certain. Thronefall is a minimalist strategy game that strips the genre down to pure essentials, combining tower defense with kingdom building in a brilliantly streamlined package. You're rebuilding and defending a kingdom across different maps, and each day you place buildings and expand your territory before night falls and enemy waves attack. The genius is in the simplicity. You directly control your king character during battles, fighting alongside your troops and activating abilities while managing defenses you built during the day phase. Buildings serve dual purposes, like houses generating gold while also training peasant defenders, or walls providing protection and archer positions. Between nights, you're spending earned gold to place new structures, upgrade existing ones, and unlock perks that fundamentally change your strategies for that map. Each map presents unique challenges, with different enemy types, terrain layouts, and victory conditions that force you to rethink your approach completely.
Reduced version of a classical strategy game. It is very much designed to scratch that same itch, but in a more leaned back and approachable format.
Balatro takes poker hands and turns them into a roguelike deck builder with absurdly addictive gameplay that'll consume your life if you're not careful. You're playing poker hands to score points and beat increasingly difficult blind targets across multiple rounds. But the twist is how you modify and break the rules to create insane scoring combos. Jokers are special cards that trigger powerful effects, like multiplying scores, adding bonuses for specific suits, or completely changing how hands are scored. Between rounds, you're buying new Joker cards, upgrading your deck, purchasing consumables, and making choices that shape your entire run's strategy and potential. The scoring system has real depth. Understanding which hands score highest and how Jokers multiply those values is crucial to progressing through harder blinds. Deck manipulation matters too, since you can destroy cards, duplicate specific ones, or add special editions that provide bonuses, letting you craft more consistent strategies. Tactics Ogre Reborn is a remaster of a legendary tactical RPG that still stands among the genre's best, with its mature story and incredibly deep combat systems. You're navigating a war-torn kingdom, where your decisions about which factions to support and moral choices you make drastically alter the story's path and which characters join you. The grid-based tactical battles require careful positioning on multi-elevation maps, where height advantages, elemental affinities, and class matchups create layers of strategic consideration. The class system is massive, with dozens of job types, from basic warriors and archers to specialized classes like dragoons and necromancers, each with unique abilities and equipment restrictions. Leveling works by class rather than individual characters, meaning switching classes doesn't waste progress and encourages experimentation with different builds and party compositions. The crafting system lets you forge and upgrade weapons, adding elements or special properties that can turn battles in your favor when used strategically. Persona 5 Tactica brings the Phantom Thieves into a tactical strategy game that captures the series' style while introducing fresh gameplay that stands on its own. You're trapped in a strange cognitive world with grid-based battles where positioning, enemy weaknesses, and explosive follow-up attacks create fast-paced tactical encounters. The One More system from the RPGs translates brilliantly here. Hitting enemy weaknesses grants extra actions, letting you chain moves and coordinate devastating combo attacks with party members. Persona switching mid-battle adds flexibility, since characters can equip different personas with varied skills, encouraging you to build versatile team compositions for different enemy types. The triangle attack system is genius. When you knock down enemies into another character's line of fire, they trigger a free follow-up attack, rewarding smart positioning and planning. Maps are compact, with multiple paths and environmental hazards you can exploit, making battles quick and focused rather than lengthy slogs.
Nice, Joker! Get ready, hit! Here, should think it's gonna make
Better get ready.
Into the Breach is a turn-based tactics masterpiece where you're piloting mechs to defend cities from alien bugs, and Perfect Information creates puzzle-like battles where every move counts. The entire enemy turn is telegraphed before you act, showing exactly what each bug will do, so victories come from solving the puzzle of how to prevent maximum damage with limited resources. Your mech squad has distinct abilities. Some push enemies, others do damage, some shield buildings, and finding synergies between their abilities is crucial to effective strategies. Maps are small grids with buildings you're protecting, and civilian casualties weaken your overall campaign, creating constant tension between aggressive plays and defensive positioning. Runs are structured as short campaigns across islands with escalating difficulty, and permanent mech upgrades carry between runs, while pilots can time travel to new timelines when you fail. Griftlands is a deck-building RPG where every conflict, combat and negotiation, plays out through cards, set in a gritty sci-fi world with branching storylines and meaningful choices. You're playing as one of 3 characters with distinct campaigns, gameplay styles, and card mechanics, fighting and talking your way through a dangerous planet full of factions, bounties, and opportunities. Combat uses an attack deck, where you're playing cards to deal damage, block, or inflict bleeds and other status effects on enemies, with synergies between cards creating powerful combos. The negotiation system is equally deep, with a separate persuasion deck, where you're arguing to gain composure while destroying your opponents, essentially combat, but with words instead of weapons. Between encounters, you're modifying both decks by gaming new cards, upgrading existing ones, and removing dead weight to create more consistent strategies. Northgard brings real-time strategy to Switch, with a Viking-themed game about exploring, expanding, and conquering territories while managing resources and surviving harsh winters. You're leading a clan with unique bonuses and victory conditions, building settlements across a map divided into territories that you must claim and develop strategically. Resource management is the backbone. Food, wood, stone, gold, and more must be balanced carefully because overexpansion without proper infrastructure leads to starvation and economic collapse. Seasons affect gameplay dramatically, with winters reducing food production and increasing consumption, forcing you to prepare during summer or face devastating losses. Military units, buildings, and upgrades all require population assignment, creating meaningful decisions about whether to focus on economy, military, exploration, or specialized victory conditions. "13 Sentinels" is an absolute mind-bending experience that combines visual novel storytelling with real-time strategy battles, delivering one of gaming's most complex and rewarding narratives. You're following 13 different characters across multiple time periods, slowly piecing together a massive sci-fi mystery involving time travel, mechs, and an alien invasion that threatens everything. The story segments play like adventure games, where you're exploring environments, talking to characters, and uncovering plot points that unlock further progression in an interconnected web. The battles are tower defense RTS, where you're deploying mechs to defend a terminal against waves of kaiju-like machines, using each pilot's unique mech abilities strategically. Combat is surprisingly deep, with different mech generations offering varied roles, from melee fighters to long-range artillery, support units, and flying interceptors.
What's our plan?
Wargroove perfects the Advance Wars formula while adding its own identity through gorgeous pixel art, groove mechanics, and incredible community features that ensure endless content. You're commanding armies in turn-based battles across grid-based maps, with each unit type having clear strengths, weaknesses, and tactical roles that create engaging strategic depth. Commanders are the game changer, with unique groove abilities that charge through combat and can swing entire battles when used effectively, from healing abilities to devastating attacks. The campaigns follow multiple factions with their own storylines that interweave, giving different perspectives on the conflict and introducing varied mission types and challenges throughout. Terrain plays a crucial role, with forests providing defense bonuses, mountains giving vision advantages, and villages generating income, making map control and positioning essential to victory. Slay the Spire is the deck-building roguelike that basically created a whole genre, and it's still one of the most addictive strategy games you can play. You're climbing a spire, fighting enemies in turn-based card battles, where every decision about which cards to add, remove, or upgrade shapes your entire run. 3 characters offer completely different playstyles. The Ironclad focuses on strength and self-damage synergies. The Silent uses poison and card manipulation, while the Defect builds up orbs for passive effects. Each floor presents choices between combat encounters, random events, shops, or rest sites, and the path you take dramatically affects your chances of survival. The card synergies get wild when you build around specific strategies like infinite combos or massive single-turn damage bursts. Relics are permanent items that can completely change your game plan, some enabling certain strategies, while others require you to adapt your entire approach. Triangle Strategy is a tactical RPG that takes the genre's best elements and combines them with a branching narrative where your choices genuinely matter to the story's direction. You're navigating political conflict between 3 nations where war, resources, and ideology clash, making decisions through a voting system where you must convince your companions to support your choices. The grid-based tactical battles are phenomenal, with elevation mechanics that let units attack from high ground for bonus damage or push enemies off cliffs. Classes are diverse, from traditional warriors and mages to unique units like Hawkmen, who fly over terrain, and trappers who set deadly area effects. The combat emphasizes positioning and flanking. Attacking from behind or sides deals extra damage, encouraging coordinated assaults with multiple units. Between battles, you're recruiting new characters, whose availability depends on story choices you've made, meaning different playthroughs unlock different party members. Fire Emblem Three Houses revolutionized the series by blending tactical combat with school life simulation, creating an experience where you genuinely care about every unit because you've spent hours developing them. You're a professor at a military academy choosing between 3 houses, Black Eagles, Blue Lions, or Golden Deer, each with distinct students, storylines, and perspectives on the continent's brewing conflict. The monastery sections between battles let you explore, talk to students, complete quests, and most importantly, teach your units in different weapon types and skills to customize their growth. Tactical battles play on grid maps, where weapon durability, terrain, unit positioning, and the weapon triangle create layered strategic decisions in every encounter. The class system is incredibly flexible, letting you reclass students into any role if they meet requirements, so you can turn mages into warriors or build entirely unconventional team compositions.
Next time, bring your friends.
Here goes.
Unicorn Overlord is Vanillaware's tactical RPG masterpiece that combines real-time strategy with intricate unit customization and absolutely stunning hand-drawn art. You're leading a liberation army to reclaim a kingdom through large-scale battles where you command multiple squads simultaneously across expansive maps. The combat system is unique. Battles resolve automatically based on formations and tactics you set beforehand, so the strategy comes from building squads with complementary units and abilities. Unit composition matters tremendously, with front row, back row, and support positions that determine attack order and who takes damage during engagements. The tactics system lets you set conditional commands like use healing when health drops below 50%, or prioritize flying enemies, giving you control without micromanaging every action. Between battles, you're recruiting from dozens of character classes, promoting units to advanced classes, and equipping gear that dramatically changes their effectiveness in combat.
Give them nothing!
My magic is yours.
SteamWorld Heist Ultimate Edition is the definitive version of the side-scrolling tactical shooter that perfected the formula with skill-based aiming, incredible customization, and pure strategic satisfaction. You're commanding a crew of robot space pirates in turn-based battles where you manually aim every shot, making accuracy and understanding bullet physics as crucial as tactical positioning. The 2D perspective creates unique tactical situations. You can ricochet bullets off walls and ceilings to hit enemies behind cover, turning skilled shots into devastating plays. Each crew member has distinct weapon types and abilities that define their role, from snipers landing critical headshots to shotgunners clearing close-range threats, to support classes providing healing and buffs. The hat system is genius, providing stat bonuses while looking awesome on your robots, creating meaningful customization that affects both gameplay and aesthetics. There you have it, the top 35 strategy games on Nintendo Switch that every tactical gaming fan needs to experience. What's your favorite strategy game on Switch? Let me know in the comments if you agree with this list or if I missed something you think deserves a spot. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.